What's going on, everybody? Back with another On the Hill HVAC video. This video is not necessarily just for HVAC. This video here is for anybody that really works in a customer service industry. Maybe you work in retail, maybe you work in an office. Maybe you answer calls for customers for a company. Maybe you just interact with people on a day-to-day basis. This is a good video, and it offers some great tips for customer service. But before we begin, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe to the channel so we can grow the channel, get more content out, and possibly start doing some more giveaways. So, let's get started. Without further ado, customer service by On the Hill HVAC. So this is basically just going to do a few tips here. So tip number one. Tip number one is to be patient. Patience is one of those things that is good to have in life in general, but in customer service it's very important. So patience can go very far when you're working with customers. And one of the things about patience as well is it can help you keep a clear mind and help maintain focus. So if you've got your hands in a unit, you're having trouble figuring out what the problem is, and you've got 6 more calls to get to, and it's already 2 o'clock. That can be tough, and patience in a case like that can be key. But patience when working with customers, especially certain types of customers, can be key. If you're not patient with customers, you can fly off the handle very easily, and that's not something we want to do when we're working with customers. We don't want to get mad at customers. We don't want to get angry with customers, because once we get mad and angry with customers, that can put a bad taste in the customer's mouth for your business. Even if you don't own the business, it can put a bad taste in the mouth of customers for the business in general. And we want to get customers, and we want to keep customers. So we don't want to push customers away. And patience can help you with being nicer to customers and not flying off the handle. So that's tip number one there. And all of these can be good tips to go throughout with life, with relationships with people. So tip number 2 is to be understanding. So in the HVAC industry, in customer service industries, it's very likely that customers are having a bad day when they call you. Let's see, for example, in the South, 100 degrees outside, super humid, because that's just the South and that's the way it is. And their air just went out. Their unit's not working, it's not running, and it is hot inside the house. And so now they're calling you because they have an issue. So when they do call you, be understanding. Say, yes, ma'am, I understand. Or, yes, sir, I understand. We'll try to get to you as soon as we can. And you go ahead and put them on the schedule and tell them when you can be out there. And just be understanding of the problem. During the winter, it's going to be cold inside their home, so they can be frustrated with that as well. Cold's a little bit easier to deal with, but just one thing to do as well, along with being understanding, is to offer a temporary solution while they're waiting on you to get there. Say, if their central fan's working, if they don't have an issue with that, if they still have air coming through the vents, tell them to turn their fan to on. That can help circulate air through the house, so it's not just dead air. I mean, that's no fun. You don't want to definitely deal with dead air in this hot, humid South. That can be tough, especially when it's hot inside. And just try to be understanding of where your customers are coming from. Honestly, that goes a long way with customers. When you can be understanding, and they can understand that, hey, this is a good guy, this is a good gal, and they want to help us, and they can relate to you when you're being understanding, and that just kind of helps build good relationships. Tip number 3, communicate. Again, another good life tip as well. Communication is definitely key when working with customers. When you know what's going on with their unit, before you just leave. That's a terrible customer service tip there. Don't just leave. Let the customer know what's going on with their unit. Say, hey, ma'am, it looks like you had a capacitor. Your capacitor's not working on the fan side or the compressor side, or it's all completely shot. That capacitor's done. That capacitor's swelled up. If you don't have the part on the truck, let them know what's going on before you leave. Don't just leave, because that can be confusing for customers sometimes. Maybe in the past they've had a bad experience where somebody came and took apart their unit and tried to troubleshoot and left, and they could never get them on the phone. So just communicate with customers. Let them know what's going on. Let them know when you're going to get parts and stuff like that. And especially if the issue happens to be larger than you or the customer expected, let them know. Communicate with them. Come up with a way to explain to them what's going on. Communicate with them with, positive language. And that's a tip we're going to talk about just here in a second. But just let customers know what's going on. When you communicate with people, it just makes things a whole lot easier. So tip number 4 here is to treat customers with respect. Not spect, respect. Got a little tongue-tied there. I'm trying to think and talk. But tip number 4 is treat customers with respect. Again, this is another good rule of thumb to follow in daily life. Just treat others with respect. If we could all treat each other with respect, the world would be a whole lot better place. And so one of the things respect does is respect helps build rapport. Respect supports good connections and good relationships. Again, like I said earlier, we want to build that relationship with customers. We want to maintain those customers. And we want to respect, what they think. And we want to respect their decisions as well. So it's always good to treat customers with respect. So tip number 5 here. Always use positive language. This can be a tough one sometimes, especially when it's hot outside. And, like I said, you've got 6 calls to get to. It's 2 o'clock, and you're, not sure what's going on. Or maybe you do know what's going on, and it's just hot outside, and you're just having a rough day. But never use negative language. Like I said, even if you're frustrated. Positive language supports positive situations, and positive language can help, big issues been taken more lightly. Man, your compressor, it looks like it's grounded. So what we're going to need to do is that compressor needs to be replaced. So, not the greatest issue you can have, but it's, we know what's going on, and it's a fix, and it's definitely a starting point. So that's a good way to use positive language. So, like I said, use positive language. Positive language can make bad situations better. That conversation there was just an example. And last but not least, just be nice. I mean, it's pretty simple. Just be nice. Kindness and being nice goes a long way, especially in today's society when people are at each other's throat over political issues or religious issues or whatever it may be. But just be nice to people. Sometimes all people want is to just, feel respected and to just have someone be nice to them. So, as a wrap up, go through these tips again. Tip number 1, be patient. Tip number 2, be understanding. Tip number 3, communicate with customers. Tip number 4, treat customers with respect. It's always a good one there. And tip number 5, always use positive language. Last but not least, just be nice. It's not hard to be nice. Kindness and niceness goes a long way. But I want to thank you for watching. And, got my paper a little wet there. I just want to tell you to make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to see more content. But again, thank you for watching the On the Hill HVAC channel, and stay tuned for more content.